All right, James Claver wants to know this. He's from Bangor, Michigan. He says, I've been reading your book, Death by Black Hole.
Oh, thank you. It's a fan favorite, Death by Black Hole.
And you mentioned that scientists knew there were holes in the periodic table well before they were discovered. I'm just wondering, how did they know? Maybe a brief history of how they were originally organized. So we know these tables. We know that there's gaps. How do they know there's gaps?
Yeah, so I'd love me some periodic table. Just I can't get enough periodic table, just so you know.
Gotcha.
So once you learn how to organize the elements, which is what Mendeleev figured out, a Russian scientist, right? Once you do that, if you arrange them by how many protons are in their nucleus, very simple way to,
That's
how many
pretty
protons?
right. Just
how many
count
protons you
the
got?
protons.
You got 4, then you're over here. You got 5, go next to 4. You got 7, skip 1. Do we have 6 yet? No, not, well, actually we did have 6. 6 is carbon. But do you have 8? Oh, that's oxygen. Give me a hard one. Do we have 9? Right? No, we don't have it yet, but we got 10. So 10 go in your 10 slot.
Right.
Well, where's 9? We don't have it yet. Well, get off your ass and find me some 9.
Gotcha.
And so these are how you establish the gaps in the periodic table. The periodic table is complete from 1 up to 100 and what are we up to, 110 or 12 or something. So it's not like you're going to just discover some other element that's going to pry itself.
Because there's no 9.7.
There's no 9.7. Correct. Some aspects of science are complete.
Gotcha.
That's how it is. That's why it's a beautiful thing. And it's a record of discovery over the centuries. And I love it.
So now,
for example, the element... We discovered an element on the sun before we discovered it here on Earth.
Okay.
And we named it after the sun god Helios.
Helium.
Which became helium.
Which is a lot of that in the sun.
Yeah, it's like about 10% of it is made of helium. Yeah.
And we're running out of it on Earth.
On Earth, that's right. That's right. And so helium is not uncommon in the universe. And because we keep filling like Thanksgiving Day balloons with helium. No, actually in the old days they would let it escape and then regenerate the helium, but now they recapture it. I've been told. Because Macy's is the second biggest consumer of helium in the world.
Get out of here.
After the U.S. military.
And
helium has very special properties, not all of which I can divulge.
Get out. Really?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Oh, like making you talk funny? Because
that happens too.
The best
Not
one.
a secret. Not a secret.
Oh, okay. Because that's the best one, by the way.
There's an element that was missing, and we did the calculation after quantum physics was discovered, and we noticed that element is unstable. So even if it was ever in the universe, it would have decayed into something else by now. So it would be like a permanent gap.
Gotcha.
Anything that was there was not there now. So we said, well, okay, let's just make the stuff. So we manufactured an element to fit in the gap, and we named it after ourselves. We named it after technology. It's called technetium.
Technetium.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Oh, man. And, of course, because we made it, it can't last.
Plus, we named it tech. I mean, tech means artificial.
Yeah.
And, in fact, technetium is a very active potent tool for the radiologist, because you can set it up in ways that have different half-lives.
Gotcha.
6 hours or 10 hours, and you can do experiments with your circulatory system by tracking the radioactivity. And if small amounts are okay, if it can
and you can trace it as it moves.
As it moves.
And the half-life, it'll go away, and you don't have to worry about it.
You're done. You leave the hospital, you're done.
Right.
Yeah.
That is brilliant.
I was once in a hospital with one of my radiation detectors, which I occasionally carry, and
only you would make
someone sat down next to me in the waiting room, and the alarm started going off. And I looked to the person. I said, "Okay, what are you in for?" Well, they just did a radioactive dye test on him, and he was still radioactive as he would be for the next few hours. So I moved to another chair. This is StarTalk.